ceremony. So, and the cotton trail event Saturday before that. So it's been like really, really busy. But I just thought that they were just great events and just wanted to tell everybody thank you. And everybody else.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McRae. I'm sure that most of us have watched this movie at least once. The movie I want to reference is A Field of Dreams starring Kevin Costner. It says, if you build it, they will come. Well, we built it, Heritage Parks, and the community has come. Not to just one event. Every event that's been out there for the past 3 weeks has been very well attended. So even though the park has only been open a few months, we already know parking is an issue. The Marco and team has a temporary solution until we can do something with additional parking in phase 2 and down at the lake park itself. But nonetheless, we built it, they came, and they still come. So that's really, really a testament to the community of our Parks and Rec system. And that includes that Easter picnic, which I was at, which was really good. We had another event right here in front of Town Hall with our pinwheel ceremony, recognizing child abuse prevention. We also had Heritage Park Phase public input. The Chamber Easter egg hunt was great. On the table in the back is our community survey that we're continuing to ask people for input. If you haven't filled one of these out, you can go online, go to the QR code and do it, or you can go right back there on the back table and pick up a hard copy and take the time and fill this out. Just like in voting, every vote counts. This counts too. Your input is valuable to how we shape and look at our community going forward in the vision. The town hall style event on Thursday night was great. We're going to bring it back again in a couple weeks, and probably a Tuesday night and started probably at 6 where we can run it for a couple hours. The only reason it was 90 minutes the other nights because we had Heritage Park Phase 2 input, which started at 6 and that went to 7. So a lot of folks will probably be there for 2.5 to 3 hours, and we just kind of didn't want that. So our next one's going to kick off at 6 in a couple of weeks. Sunday morning, and these continue to get large every year. And Commissioner Craver knows, Commissioner Marley knows. Our sunrise service at the gazebo was a large, well-attended event Sunday morning. It really was. Larger than last year. So we'll run out of chairs on Marco, I'm telling you. I see it. We're getting close. We'll run out of chairs. But before I move on to the presentations, we had a passing of the Pope yesterday. And it just is a testament that every day we live in God's hands. We saw him on the balcony Easter Sunday. He passed yesterday. With that said, we'll go into presentations. Commissioner Legg, I think you want to, nope, wait a minute, I forgot one, sorry. We've got a nice event coming up in the Parks and Rec Center. May 2nd and 3rd, May 3rd and 4th. And the event is Peter and the Starcatcher. It'll be over in the Parks and Rec main room. Based on the novel of David Barry and Ridley Pearson. May 2nd and 3rd times are 7 p.m. May 3rd and 4th are those times are 3 p.m. This is in partnership with our Arts Council as we continue to bring the arts to our community. So that's just a little bit what's coming up. I was at the last one in December, and it was very well attended, every one of them. So if you really want to see a production of local artists, try to attend Peter and the Starcatcher. Okay, now, Commissioner Legg, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, it's my honor to introduce a young lady from Grace Creek High School who is going to speak for us. Abigail. Can we call you Abby?
Yes, sir. So my name is Abigail Dries, and it's an honor to speak to you tonight. I was born and raised in Hope Mills, North Carolina, so this town definitely has a special place in my heart, and I'm really grateful to be in such a supportive and uplifting community like Hope Mills. A little bit about myself, like he said, I'm from Grace Creek High School. I'm 15 years old. I am my sophomore class vice president in Student Government Association. I'm also involved in Future Business Leaders of America, and I'm very passionate about community service, and one day I hope to become a veterinarian. I have been involved in pageantry ever since elementary school. My first pageant was Little Miss Bellberry Farm Elementary School, and my second ever pageant was Hope Mills Cotton Festival pageant, where I had the honor of representing my town as Junior Miss Cotton. So this town really sparked my passion for pageantry, and without Hope Mills and without the Cotton Festival pageant, I would not be where I am today. Speaking of where I am today, in January I was crowned Miss North Carolina High School America, and now I'm preparing for nationals, which will be in July in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'll compete in evening gown, fun fashion, and a private interview. 2 years ago, I had the honor of representing North Carolina in the junior high division, where I placed top 5 at nationals. So I'm really excited for another opportunity to bring the national title home to Hope Mills, North Carolina. During my reign, I have been able to promote the national platform BRAVE. It stands for Building Respect and Values for Everyone, through my own anti-bullying initiative, Raise Your Hand, where I speak to youth about the importance of being kind and raising their hand when they see bullying. I speak to these students in schools, after-school programs, and day camps, and 1 in 4 students are victims of bullying, and 80% of people that see bullying don't even do anything about it. So that's why I believe that the message of being an upstander and not a bystander is so important for our teens and youth to hear. So during my presentations, I read an anti-bullying book. The students take an anti-bullying pledge, and I give them a bracelet that's like a What Would Jesus Do bracelet, but it says be kind on it, and it also says brave. And they wear it as a daily reminder of their anti-bullying commitment. I really hope that my initiative and the national platform BRAVE is making a difference in the community. And I also hope to make you guys proud at nationals this summer. Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice speaking to you today.
Abby, you're not done yet. Who came with you today?
This is my mom. Her name is Amy.
All right. That's okay. Welcome, Mom. And again, and we wish you well at Nationals. We truly do. Item B is it Zion Sanders from Cumberland Polytech High School 50th Debutante Quintillion Ball. I think I had a little help from my friends.
Hello, my name is Zion Saunders, and I am participating in the 50th Debutante Cotillion Ball. This is sponsored by the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Zeta Pi Omega Chapter, in association with the Fayetteville Area Cultural and Educational Foundation Incorporated. The Debutante Cotillion Ball is a high formal honor presentation of young debutantes to society. Through my involvement in the Debutante Cotillion and pre-cotillion educational, social, and foundational activities, I will receive a scholarship. This is all designed to help me in preparation as a future educator. I currently attend Cumberland Polytechnic High School. I hold a number of positions in extracurriculars that include student body president of Student Government Association, vice president of National Honor Society, and vice president of Czech Club. Additionally, I am a member of Agape Missionary Fellowship Baptist Church, where I serve as a social media manager, a choir member, and a Teen Talk participant. Throughout my high school career, I've maintained all A's, and I'm currently holding a 4.621 GPA. Once I graduate with my high school diploma and associate's degree in teacher's preparation of arts, I wish to attain my bachelor's degree in secondary English education at Campbell University. After teaching for a few years, I went to go to graduate school to get my master's and doctorate degrees in educational policy and hope to become an education consultant or serve on the local board of education. I am eager to expand my knowledge from attending my four-year university at Campbell University. Furthermore, this is why I'm excited to participate in the Debutante Cotillion Ball. I will learn how to be graceful, ladylike, and have the ability to receive a scholarship to help my academic pursuits. In order to achieve my goals, I need your help. You may become a special patron or a Patreon. The levels include platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. If you contribute over $200, you are entitled to a copy of my souvenir journal. Please support my efforts in being crowned Miss Debutante this year. All contributions can be mailed to me by May 16th or to Cash App at $Saunders SAUN05. Thank you for understanding that this deadline cannot be extended, and it can also be written as a check. Once again, this is due by May 16th, 2025. Thank you so much.
Can you repeat the number?
It's $SAUNDERS05.
You get it? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've got a great pathway of goals. And you're going to an excellent university, so go Campbell.
You are in the same Czech club as my daughter. I didn't realize that.
Under item C is Charlotte Robertson from the TJ Robertson Center. Come up, my friend Charlotte.
One thing is fair, Mayor, that you would have me go behind two beautiful, well-articulate, young ladies. And then I'm supposed to follow those two acts right there. So I'm gonna do the best that I can, guys, okay?
Things come in three.
I understand.
You are the third.
I am the third. I am Charlotte Robinson. My husband and I landed here in Cumberland County in 1988. We're both service-disabled veterans and decided that Cumberland County would be our home. We have 4 kids, one daughter that decided to stay as a local teacher. Our oldest son is a lieutenant colonel at the Pentagon. Our middle son retired 2 weeks ago. And our youngest son is a broker and we call him Baby Jesus because he's in another country almost every month helping the poor. So we got here and decided to build a community center out in Hope Mills. Now, I don't know how long it's been. I stopped counting. But I do know that it took 11 years, 4 months, and 9 days to open the doors to that building. That building is a 57,000 square foot sports complex with 5 regulation size courts, a barbershop, massage parlor, retail store, weight room, 2 multi-conference rooms. And when we built that facility, however many years ago, in mind, the thing that we wanted to do was partner with the town of Hope Mills. That has always been the goal. We wanted to work together. The pastor said that we were in troubled times, but he also said that Hope Mills was not kind of like the other areas. And I kind of beg to differ because we've had some violence come up in the town of Hope Mills that maybe 5 years ago we would be able to say that. So I met with the mayor, I met with the town manager, I met with the athletic directors. And at this point in time, what we would like to do is to get ahead of what could be Hope Mills similarities to Fayetteville, North Carolina, where there's a murder almost every day and they're finding bodies along the roads and the rivers and stuff on a regular basis. I got a love for seniors. That's my love because I was raised by a pistol-toting, moonshine-selling, God-fearing grandmother who said, put God first, keep your faith and your integrity intact. You can do anything that you want. And the testimony is that big 57,000 square foot building that it had to be some Jesus in order for that to be built in and actually for it to be standing now. My husband, on the other hand, is a lover of kids. His passion is working with kids and making a difference in his community. We've had over 880 kids come through our programs in the last 20 or so years. And to date, we can say that we got one young man that's in jail and is probably going to spend some time in prison because he made a love impulse decision. We know how to make a difference. We know. We have a proven track record in how to make a difference in the kids in this community and surrounding communities. So what I'm asking is two things. Number one is Hope Mills, as said before in other meetings, have outgrown their facility to accommodate youth sports. That's one thing. We know pickleball is on the rise. Because our building flooded in August of 2024, our new floors in the back have pickleball lines. So we have a pickleball. Hope Mills has a pickleball facility up, ready, striped, and ready to go. We have 5 regulation size courts. So Hope Mills has the extra court space for some of the programs that they need. But more importantly, we wanted to work together. I wanted to work together with the manager and the AD and the mayor and the board about programs for the community. That's what we really need. We can bring them in with basketball, volleyball, and pickleball, but once we get them in the building, we need to have something to make them want to do better. The mayor said our slogan was going to be, we do better, we're going to do better together or do better together. How did you say that, Mayor?
Let's do good together.
Do good, we're going to do good together. So we want to work with the town to create programs that once we get them in that building, we have something that we can offer them so that in their mind, because you got to think about this, if a kid today, all the murders and stuff that's happening in Fayetteville and Cumberland County, that means that a person has to say in their mind that, hey, I'm going to kill this person and I'm either going to die or go to jail. Because Cumberland County has a pretty good track record of, they don't have too many cold cases. So you're going to jail and you're going to die. And whatever situation they're in has to be that bad that they're okay making that kind of decision. We got to do something about that. We got to make a difference. Nobody's going to come in and save the kids in Hope Mills in Cumberland County. We have to do that, and I know that we can. I know that we can. So I want to be a part of the solution in making a difference in the kids in Hope Mills. I want Hope Mills to be the model for Spring Lake, Cumberland County, Fayetteville, for them to say, well, look what they're doing over in Hope Mills. They're making a difference. And so tonight, I just wanted to say that we are community, we are community, and we're here with arms open saying, figure out how we can partner together to be able to make a difference in the town of Hope Mills.
Okay. Charlotte, we look forward to establishing a partnership going forward with programs for our community. And like you just said, and what we talked about, this is a prime opportunity for partnership for all of our community. So let's look at this as a community partnership to enhance quality of life in our community. Let's do good together, and we can do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Commissioner Martin.
Do we need to ask the manager and maybe the Parks and Rec director to have a meeting and discuss the needs of it and maybe look at some proposals?
We have met at least twice. I think what we've asked for this evening is authorization for us to at least come back to you guys with some type of proposal after meeting. Again, we're talking about primarily basketball and pickleball. Parks and Rec Director LaMarco Morrison is analyzing the need, and I think that's particularly what we would probably ask for authorization to come back to you for consideration of some type of partnership centered around sports.
Would it be the consensus of the board that we move forward with discussions of a partnership with Charlotte Robertson and T.J. Robertson Life Center. Before you ask the questions, everybody's good with this? Okay, all right.
Now, just out of curiosity, in the summertime, because as you know, we don't have a white flag shelter, thank you. I was like, trying to think of the word. Is your facility gonna be able to be open during the hot days, especially during the summer, so people can get relief from the heat?
Actually, about 4 years ago, the Red Cross came out and designated us as the Cumberland County Red Cross shelter. I actually looked into the White Flag Shelter program, and I was told that I was like 2 weeks past, I guess it was a deadline that you had to submit the paperwork. So absolutely, we're interested. We got the showers, we got the kitchen, we got the facility, and again, the Red Cross has already designated us as a Red Cross shelter. So absolutely, we would be interested in doing that, providing that service.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Swirl. Commissioner Marley, thank you too. Any other comments before we move on? Go ahead.
I'd like to recognize Debbie Brown, that's the director of the continuum care for Cumberland County. Do you have anything you want to say, Debbie? She's been helping us tremendously with my homelessness committee, so.
Well, Commissioner, I thought it was very interesting that you mentioned that. As the presentation was being made, I had written down the same. And a couple of other things, youth, leaving foster care is also an issue that we have. And so, yes, I would love to be able to share the same sentiments that you have with her and looking at what possibilities we can do here in Hood Mills for those folks and for our own house.
Thank you very much. See, Charlotte, we've already got interest just tonight. That's why I'm telling you, let's do good together. Okay, next under item D, proclamation recognizing Earth Day. I'll read this one, and the one behind it, I'll ask Commissioner Scarola to read, if you will. It's Admin Day. Earth Day proclamation, whereas on April 22nd, 1970, 20 million Americans, 10% of the U.S. population at the time, took to the streets, college campuses, and hundreds of cities to protest environmental ignorance and demand a new way forward for our planet. The first Earth Day is credited with launching the modern environmental movement and is now recognized as the planet's largest civil event. And whereas the theme for Earth Day 2025 is Our Power, Our Planet. Scientists, non-governmental organizations, business, and governments worldwide now are looking at natural system processes and emerging green technologies to restore the world's ecosystems and forests, conserve and rebuild soils, improve farming practices, restore wildlife populations, and rid the world's oceans of plastic. And whereas, while the world waits for global political and business leaders to take decisive action to reduce carbon emissions, natural processes, including reforestation and soil conservation, can store massive amounts of carbon while restoring biodiversity, clean water and air, rebalancing the ecological systems. Restoration is pragmatic and necessary to reduce climate change, and whereas the North Carolina Department of Transportation scheduled a litter sweep from April 12th to 26th in order to contribute to the prevention and preservation of our environment, and now therefore I, Jesse Bellflowers, Mayor of the town of Hope Mills, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2025 Earth Day in the town of Hope Mills, and urge all to use this time to celebrate our only planet and commit to building a sustainable green economy proclaimed this 21st day of April 2025. Next item is item E, and it's the proclamation recognizing Administrative Professional Day 2025 under tab 3.
Thank you, Mayor. And also, I'd like to note that For about 7 years of my military career, thanks to hip issues and hip surgeries, half of my, 7 years of my career, I was human resources, so I myself was administrative.
Yes.
Not by choice, but I did it nonetheless. I digress. Here we go. Declaring April 23rd, 2025 as Administrative Professionals Day. Whereas administrative professionals play an essential role in coordinating the office operations of businesses, nonprofits, government, educational institutions, and other organizations. And whereas the work of administrative professionals today requires advanced knowledge and expertise in communications, computer software, office technology, project management, organization, customer service, and other vital office management responsibilities, and most importantly, have the willingness to learn and accept new challenges. And whereas administrative professionals are vital contributors in today's team-oriented work environment and are key frontline public relations ambassadors for their organizations. And whereas Administrative Professionals Day is observed annually in workplaces around the world to recognize the important contributions of administrative support staff, and is sponsored by the International Association of Administrative Professionals. And whereas Administrative Professionals Day serves as a time to salute the valuable contributions of administrative professionals in the town of Hope Mills, and to recognize the singular importance of their work in accomplishing the mission and vision of their place of work. And now, therefore, I, Jesse Bellflower, Mayor of the town of Hope Mills, proclaim 2025, April 23, 2025, as Administrative Professionals Day in Hope Mills, North Carolina, and encourage all residents to recognize and appreciate their administrative support.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Sproul. I thought you would like to read Administrative Day, given your background.
If they ever have a communications day, I'll read that one too.
Okay. All right, next we have two public hearings. The first one is item A, and it's ZNG-011-24, request to rezone 0.86 plus or minus acres from R7.5 residential to O&I office and institutional, or more restrictive zoning empty lot at southeast corner of Camden Road and Waldo's Beach Road, REID 949-4757135000, submitted by Tom Boyd, agent, on behalf of Bryan Properties LLC owners under tab 4. Emily, I think you have it.
I don't have it, because the computer decided just now to do an update, I guess.
And do you want to use the packet?
Look at this. This is my communications background in work.
Administrative Day, playing out like here.
And Mayor, while we're waiting, I'd just like to thank Ashley and Karonda for all that you do for us, for the town of Hope Mills.
Thank you.
Well said.
She does?
Yeah.
And for us, because we're always emailing you and calling you, so we really do appreciate you. And for Commissioner Sproul for saving the day.
Look at that. I wasn't on Facebook.
And may I add, Ashley and Karonda, since Karonda's not wearing the Queen of Hearts, I will say that both of you are our Queen of Hearts. There it is.
I think the mayor maybe want another Easter egg.
Town of Hope Mills staff received a request to rezone 0.086 acres of land to C
C2P planned service and retail district with conditional zoning, but the applicant has since submitted in writing that they would like to rezone it to O&I office and institutional zoning. The subject property is adjacent and across the street from the existing county subdivisions Estates of Camden and Camden Woods. Also located across the street from undeveloped property inside the town of Hope Mills that is zoned C2P, planned service and retail across the intersection from the apartment complex located within town limits called Olympus at Jack. Access will be either from Camden Road or Waldo's Beach Road. The Southwest Land Use Cumberland Land Use Plan calls for low density residential. This request does not fall within the current guidelines of the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan. The area to the immediate east, west, and south are fully developed single-family residential neighborhoods, and the area directly across the street is zoned for commercial development. The Cumberland County Joint Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval for this request during the regularly scheduled meeting on March 18th of 2025. O&I is designed to be situated between businesses and residential areas consisting of specialized services such as finance, real estate, and brokerage, as well as the traditional institutional functions, both in public and private, public assembly, religious, and certain cultural and recreational activities and group housing. I did go ahead and list all of the political uses for this district. Would you like me to read them? Yes.
Yes, it's part of the PowerPoint presentation. Plus the fact that it's online as well.
In general, some of the approved uses include golf courses, funeral homes, fire stations, dwellings that are single and multifamily for second floor only, libraries, banks, bookstores, parking lot, municipal building and activities, nursing homes, and more, doctor's offices, generally more quietly operating businesses. It does have conditional zoning, but this would be another process that the applicant would have to go through if they wanted to request the uses that are under conditional zoning, which is recreational amusement, outdoor, recreational amusement, public, private. That they would have to come back before the board again if they wanted to request something like that. And then the last section I have on here are uses that are approved, but they would have to go before the Board of Adjustment for approval to get a special use permit. Here is a map showing, to give everyone an idea of where the property is located. Again, this is our Southwest Land Use, Cumberland Land Use Plan, showing that it is technically in the low-density residential area, directly across the street from office and institutional, but that is zoned commercial across the street in the blue section. And this is showing the access for water and sewer. There is definitely water nearby. If they want to do sewer, they will have to extend the line to do the sewer. And this is showing, as I mentioned earlier, how across the street is commercial, and it is currently zoned R7.5 residential. And then the R5 is the apartment complex. This is just giving an idea for the location of the property in different directions.
Well, thank you, Emily. Before I open the public hearing, is there any comments or questions from the board? Because you may, well, for me, I have some too. So I'll just tell you to go back to the first slide on what can be put there. And, okay.
Do you want to go back to pictures?
I can ask it, I don't know, look at it at the same time.
Yep, you may.
So from, like, when you're looking across the street, all you see is woodline for where that C2P area is? Okay.
Yeah, the C2P area was annexed into the town, I want to say earlier last year, with the intention of doing, there's always going to be two businesses on there. I don't know for sure. But they do have to be commercial.
Okay, anything else?
Motion to open the public hearing.
I got to ask one. On March 18th, at the joint planning board, what did they approve? O&I or C2B?
The O9.
They approved.
Yeah, because they requested to change it over to O9, so I had to re-advertise everything. But I also wanted to put it in the notes because the original packet did state that they wanted to rezone to the C2P with conditional zoning.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked. I wanted to make sure what they approval, their recommendation to our board was O&I. Okay. So just to be clear, no vape shops can go there. No car sales can go there.
So,
Just to be clear, there's a lot of folks that live in these residential areas that really have some concerns.
I will verify that our ordinance states that car sales, used or new, cannot go on properties that are under an acre, and this is under an acre.
Right.
And then the vape shops, I did not check that before now, but I believe it has to be at least a mile or more away from the closest vape shop. And I'm pretty sure there's one close by over at the intersection of Camden and Rockfish Road, so that would make it available. And then there's also one over near the movie theater, which is pretty close by as well. So I'm pretty sure that would take that off the choices, even if it was on this list.
Yeah, these are the two big ones that I've heard from folks. It's not on that list, but I just wanted to highlight that. All right. Commissioner Lake, you got something? Okay. We have a motion to open the public hearing. Y'all already made it? Second? All in favor? Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of proposed ZNG-011-24? Is there anyone here that come on board? Please state your name.
Tom Lloyd, I'm representing the owner of the property.
Welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much. And, it's a pleasure to be here. So I just want to say, the original idea was to go to retail, then they realized, and after talking to some, I conferred with them, after talking to some board members and definitely the staff, that even though the neighborhood that's behind it isn't in Oak Mills, they want to be good neighbors. Office, we can sort of maintain that office is actually a better neighbor than a residence, because there won't be anything going on there after 6 o'clock, what they intend on putting in there. Now, this isn't conditional zoning, so, they can't be held to that, but by and large, when you look at the list of uses, it's office uses, it's not retail uses. Right? The staff summed it up best in their summary with you all. O&I is designed to be situated between business and residential areas, and services such as finance, real estate brokerage, they're offices. It's an office. Traditionally, they try to be closed by 6 o'clock, for the most part. So, with that, I just want to summarize by saying again, after talking to some board members and the staff, realized that it wasn't appropriate to put commercial there. So their office would be a better name. I'd be glad to take any questions.
Tom, I appreciate your comments. And the only reason that I mentioned those two is because those were the ones that I heard from the residents in that community. They didn't want a vape shop come there, and they didn't want a car sales.
I actually wrote the amendments.
Yeah, they didn't want either one. I think they would be good neighbors with office, with an office.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but folks that live in these residential neighborhoods, they don't know the difference between conditional O and I. CMP, they just come out and say, look, we just don't want these types of businesses on that corner. And I'm just representing what I.
With respect to landscaping and maintenance, traditionally offices will keep their lot.
Yeah.
Manicured.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in favor of the proposed ZNG-011-24? Is there anyone here that would like to speak against ZNG-011-24?
I just have a question.
Yep.
So if your client
You gotta come to the mic.
That's
state your name.
Momolo,
Thank you, sir.
so your client can't sublet it, so it'll be office space, correct? Can you sure, because I know that originally the vape shop was on the corner of Rockfish and Camden to the left of Wingco, and whatever that martial arts was, it was originally supposed to be office space, then it got sublet down and became tobacco usage.
So if I may, this has nothing to do with who leases it, how it's leased, who owns it, has to do with zoning. And zoning says that you can't go there, and you can't go there.
I will point out too, if you look at the permitted uses in O&I, vape shops or, those type of, facilities are not permitted uses in that zoning classification.
I thank you very much for your comments. As you can tell, vape shops is a business of concern. And like Tom said, I mean, it's a lot of folks that say that they don't know the difference between the zones. They don't. They just know we don't want this type of business encroaching into our neighborhood. And the other one was a used car lot. They didn't want that either. And that's an easy no. But folks in the residents, they don't know that it's an easy no. So just this discussion would kind of reassure the residents there that neither one of them types of business should be permitted to go on that corner. Is there anyone else here that wants to speak against the proposed ZNG-011-24? Seeing none, motion to close public hearing. Second? All in favor? Public hearing is now closed. We'll have an action by the board.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that, we approve case ZNG-011-24, the zoning request to rezone from R7.5 to O&I Office and Institutional District, and finding that despite this request not being consistent with the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan 2013 recommendations of low-density residential, O&I is designed to be situated between business and residential areas, consisting of specialized services such as finance, real estate, and brokerage, as well as the traditional institutional functions, both public and private, public assembly, religious and certain cultural and recreational activities, and group housing. This request would be in harmony with the makeup of the existing surrounding neighborhood, which does complement the future vision of the town of Hope Mills. The economic and regional impact of the proposed development complements the vision and long-term outlook of the area in regards to economic development viability. Approval of the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested does complement the existing adjacent parcels and the surrounding area.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Next item is B. Our next public hearing is ZNG-004-25, request to rezone 5.948 plus or minus acres from R6 residential to R5 residential or more restricted zones for intersection of 3700 Damien Drive, REID 04147-1377-0000 and 04147-167-50000, Church Street Apartments LLC owners under tab 5. Tom, thank you for coming. I know you're getting ready to go. I just wanted to thank you.
Town of Hope Mills staff received a request to rezone 5.948 acres of land, and they are requesting to rezone the two lots you mentioned just now to R5 residential zoning. The subject property is adjacent to the rear of Hope Mills Middle School, and single-family homes, including the Creek Bend subdivision. The property is part of the existing Church Street Apartments. Same owner as the Church Street Apartments. Access will most likely be from Church Street. The Cumberland County Joint Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval during a regular scheduled meeting on March 18th. And the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan calls for medium density residential. This request does fall within the current guidelines of the land use plan. Here's a view of where the property is located. As you can see, it's all one lot that's being highlighted, but the left side is what they're mostly focusing on. Here you can see there's already water and sewer readily available that they can tap into for developing the left side of the property. And currently it's zoned R6. And as you can see, surrounding it is a combination of commercial and other residential zones. And similarly, it's surrounded by other types of uses that our land use plan calls for, including mixed use, low density residential, heavy commercial, office and institutional, and then medium density for the area that we're looking at today. As you can see, it's directly across the street from Dollar General. You can see the sign. And to the right, you can see some of the apartment buildings that are already in existence. You can see the neighborhood toward the back door right as well. And that's everything. Questions?
Okay, before I open up the public hearing, any questions, comments from the board? Commissioner Swirl.
Now, I remember this from plan review. The only reason that they need to change the zoning is because they want to put more buildings on, correct? More buildings, more people in that small area. Change zoning. Okay.
Mr. Fraser?
What are the, apartments that are there now? Are they zoned R5 or R6?
They are currently zoned R6. They're requesting to rezone the whole area to R5.
Okay, so by going to R5, it will change it from low density to medium density, correct? Is there a formula, how many more apartments that they can get there versus what they put there under R6?
Yes, and I can't tell you off the top of my head what that formula exactly is. I'm guessing. I don't want to guess. I feel like it's like 13.5 per acre, but I think the number might be slightly higher than that.
And the only way into that is by Church Street.
Yes, there is. I doubt that they would use it.
There is technically access onto Main Street, as you can see, that was pie shaped to the left. But I don't know that that would really consider to be a safe.
Because I think
Access
Church
for that.
right by there, yeah, I went by there today. I just think if we do that, rezone it R5, we're gonna be putting more cars out on Church Street, and if you look at Church Street, you'll see it's just a narrow little road. I just think it's gonna put, too many cars out there that will empty out on the South Main.
Well, I do have in here comments from FAMPO, even though we don't take that into account with the zoning, that's DOT and FAMPO that does their comments for that. Traffic's not my specialty. According to FAMPO, the new development should not generate enough traffic to significantly impact Union Drive.
Commissioner Gray, good?
Yes.
Good? Commissioner Lake?
Yes, I'd like to ask, how many additional school children will be planned to go in that area? And will our schools support that additional enrollment?
So they've not officially submitted a site plan to us, so I don't know how many apartments they want to build on the property. I just know that they will have to stay within the parameters of R5 if you decide to grant them this request. And I know Cumberland County Schools has their own calculations that they do based on the number of residences, and I'm not entirely sure what that is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lake. Commissioner Swallow?
Just for clarification purposes, because I remember when we discussed it, but I don't keep any paperwork from plan review because I don't feel it's appropriate for me to have and hold on to it. But from what I recall, it wasn't being added like maybe one or two buildings just for something like that. Then the rest of it was going to be parking area.
Again, they only brought kind of a rough draft.
Yeah, and that's what I remember.
And I don't recall how many buildings they were talking about doing. I don't know if anybody's here from the kids. You are, oh, yeah. You can answer these questions.
Very good. Welcome, sir. And you are?
My name is Jeremy Sparrow. I'm with Longitude Planning Group representing the client, Street Apartments. So in order to get the additional buildings, we do have to rezone it to the R5 to get the density. And our client's looking to construct 3 buildings of 12 units. So they're going to be very similar to what's sold. It's pretty much the same footprint. They're 2-story, 12-unit buildings, which that would bring the total units to 100 because there's existing, right now there's 64 total units plus 36. So that'd be 100 total units for that property.
Okay, and now this is where my knowledge comes. Anything over 100, you would have to have a secondary entrance, exit for fire safety.
Yeah.
And then off the top of your head, do you know how many additional parking spots you're going to have in there?
They will have to meet the parking requirements the town has, and off the top of my head, it's usually 2 per dwelling.
Okay, so.
And a lot of times, apartments will go over the required.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Go ahead. Commissioner
I
Craig?
didn't understand you. How many apartments are there now?
64 currently.
Okay, and you're gonna add on how many more?
36.
Okay.
So 3 12-unit buildings.
Okay, so why, if you have 64 in R6 zoning, why do you need to change it to R5? Why couldn't you just leave it at R6?
Because right under R6, that caps the current density, so they wouldn't be able to do anything on that property under the current zoning. It's already maximized out at the current density of 64 units.
If you can only fit in the mile, you know, and there's 50 in there.
No, I was just saying, can't get anything else in, so it has to be done.
Yes. Emily, can you bring up the slide with Damien Street? My concern is the traffic. I'm just gonna tell you this. My concern is traffic. Do you have a file where Damien Street is? Thanks. Yeah.
So Damien Street is the main street for the apartment complex itself, but I believe they mentioned they're probably going to do a separate, a separate street that runs.
Could you point that out on the map? I know we don't have a.
Yeah, so secondary access to be kind of in this area, there's currently already a driveway. Yeah, it'll come right on the church.
Okay.
The current site doesn't allow for direct access, just because of the way the buildings are. And there's also.
Okay, but you're gonna construct that roadway entrance. Okay. Is that listed in this packet?
No, because they've not submitted their site plans yet, so.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This, what I'm going off is from conversation.
Okay.
And just to clarify, traffic really shouldn't be considered in the zone.
Okay. Yeah, it just when I looked at this, it was just like the traffic, even though it should be considered, like Dan, our attorney, was saying, it's just always a safety concern. It is. It's always there.
I will tell you, every time we get a case, I send out my request for comments, and they do go to DOT and FAMPO. We don't always get responses from DOT, but we almost always get a response from FAMPO.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? All right. Have a motion to open public hearing. Second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, public hearing is open. Do we have anyone here that wants to speak in favor of ZNG-004-25? Anyone want to speak in favor of ZNG-004-25? Is there anyone here that wants to speak against the proposed ZNG-004-25? Yes, sir?
Good evening, I'm Mark Kessler, I'm 5239 Lemon Drive, Hope Mills. I'm not aware of this until tonight, but I have the two concerns, and I know we're not supposed to be concerned about traffic, but that is right behind a large middle school with a lot of morning traffic, and I'm sure a lot of the apartments will be military people moving in and out during the day. Also is the additional students that could likely be going to the middle school, and any overflow, the school's already overcrowded. It's something that should be considered, maybe not this time, but maybe when they do the second time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Is there anyone else here that wants to speak against ZNG-004-25? Sally?
This is kind of new to me. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking the same thing is going to happen on Honey Ridge Road, okay? So the complex is going to be built with all these apartments, and it's going to be 100 or over 100. If there's less than 100, they're going to come out Honey Ridge Road, which is very narrow, okay? And you're going to be faced with the same thing here you're facing right at what I'm looking in my district of living, okay? And I'm looking and sitting there thinking, okay, when the fire truck comes down and we have a big fire and this fire is coming, and they're coming fast, okay? There's nowhere to go. You've got to run from somebody's yard. You have got to get out of the way, okay? Same thing with here. If you have a emergency stick down there, how are we going to, and then how are we going to out? I mean, there's a big thing to think about that. I hate to put anybody's dreams down and stuff like this, but you know, y'all didn't really tell us, okay, the apartments are 2-story. So you're saying 3 people, 4 people per apartment. How many people's that, okay? We can't get up and down this road anyway. You can't even really do well on Main Street. You add more traffic onto it. I mean, it would be difficult for them to even turn left and hit 95. Can you imagine doing that? They'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, so what's right, okay? Or anytime, Friday afternoon, whatever. Traffic's terrible. If they can figure out some way to go out and come back out on Helen Road or something, maybe that might be a good idea. But I can't see it, though. I've seen what's going on in all of our small communities when they're coming in and they're building more. And you've got housing, or you got existing apartments, and you have small, narrow roads. One-way roads, okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Anyone else wants to speak against CNG-00-4-25?
I feel like I'm the shortest person in the room. I keep doing this now. Again, I don't have necessarily agreements against it, but with all the developing that's going to be happening in Hope Mills, and to be quite honest, we're at the mercy of Fort Bragg's population growing or decreasing, and it's only going to grow as the BRAC is continuing to, that BRAC process is not stopped. So we're just going to gain people. My concern is with these developers, what are they putting back into the community? You know, I remember this gentleman right here, he spoke about the canoe ramps on Thursday night. Are these developers pushing anything back in the community, donating anything back? There's a compensatory value to every single thing that happens. If he wants to put a 64 unit or increase the 64 unit to a 100 unit complex, not you, your employer, let's get something back from them. I mean, you're adding to the populace, which is going to add to sewage, power, risk. You know, we don't know who's going to go in there. Heaven forbid they end up on the blotter or on Chief's desk with a major fire like this one that you just spoke about. Let's ask these developers to pump something back in the community. You want to make your money, fine. Give something back to us. That's all.
I thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to speak against CNG-004-25? Going once, going twice. Motion to close public hearing. Second, all in favor? Public hearing is now closed. Any additional comments from the board, Commissioner Swirl?
This kind of goes to, Ms. Bailey and the other gentleman. They do plan review, and this is how I see what's going on, and I get my, a lot of my information about this. So specifically about with the, concern about the narrow roads, or there, I couldn't see it back there, sorry. Humble apologies. They go over in plan review with the fire department. They go through with all these different departments: fire, police, planning, PWC. So they know before what they're getting into as far as will a fire truck be able to, get into there. That's why when they said it was 100 units, anything over 100 units, 101, that makes them have to change the way they have their entrance and exits so they can get a fire truck to be able to go right through. So they do consider that. That's one of the things that they are working constantly doing, is updating our ordinances to make sure that we keep our citizens safe, that there is a means for them to get fire access and all that other stuff. What the one gentleman said, maybe not this particular small area, but some of the other developers with the larger areas, one of the things that is constantly comes up, and Lamarco can speak on it, okay, if you're going to build this, you need a park put in, and that's what they do.
Cost benefit ratio versus risk benefit ratio. If they're making money, we expect something as citizens in return.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to say, with our neighborhood ordinance, so to answer your question, we are asking some of the newer developers to add more things into the neighborhoods. But when it comes to the zoning, they do something separate. The school board gets this information. There's a gentleman, I cannot think of his name, that's on our economic development committee. He is tracking all of this. The ugly question is gonna come up about school rezonings probably later on, but they control it. The same thing with the roads, DOT, FAMPO, they get the information, but we have to be careful when you're dealing with the zoning, and please educate me. We have to be very careful legally about the things that we're discussing.
That is correct, Mayor Pro Tem.
I was gonna weigh in again before y'all voted, but yes, you cannot consider what might go there or what plans you may, they may have. This is just, should this be zoned this particular way? And you're really looking at the property itself, not the potential project.
And I will add to that, this is what's so powerful about our plan review. There's so many agencies that we coordinate with, Cumberland County Schools being one of them, because they track the density or the increase in units to determine what the capacity will be of the school system. You'll have DOT receiving requests for comments, FAMPO receives requests for comments. Fire department specifically talks about widths of roads and things of that nature. So I want the community to know we do tackle just about every aspect of these developments, and 9 times out of 10 before it comes in here, we probably met with the developer 2 or 3 or 4 times at plan review so that they are aware of what these regulations are, so they know whether or not, because sometimes these developments may end up backing off because of our enforcement of these regulations. But to Mayor Pro Tem's specific point, if you are dealing with a straight rezoning, which is what this is, the only burden of proof is the compliance with the zoning. Now, if a developer on a straight rezoning wanted to do those things in terms of offer to the community, he can. If we had a conditional zoning, we could ask for that as a condition, but legally it has to be mutually agreed upon. And so there are some times that I want the community also know we do have conversations, very extensive conversations with developers about, look, we have an area we need a substation in. Do you have 2 acres that you'd be willing to sell to us? Things of that nature. So we do have those conversations, but legally with a straight rezoning, we can literally only talk about the compliance with the zoning regulations. I do know traffic becomes a concern, but there's a regulatory agency that specifically deals with those thresholds at the NCDOT.
Thank you, Chancellor. Do we have an action by the board?
Mayor, I make a motion in case ZNG 00425 that we recommend approval of the rezoning request to the R5 residential zoning district, and finds that this request is consistent with the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan 2013 designating a property. The requested R5 will complement the current and future vision of the town of Hope Mills. The economic and regional impact of the proposed development fits within the vision, I just reread it again, outlook of the area in regards of economic development viability. Approval of this request is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested is complements the proposed development of adjacent parcels in the surrounding area. And if I need to read that again, because I skipped the line, I will.
I think it's in the record.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Seeing none? Your opposed? Okay, it's 4-1. Motion carries by 4-1. Thank you very much, Emily.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me borrow your computer, Commissioner.
Public comments is next. We have 2 signed up for tonight. Each speaker is required to state their name and address, limit comments to 3 minutes. A total comment period of 30 minutes or less. Speakers should avoid repetition, and groups should designate a spokesperson. Citizens should have signed up with the town clerk or police officer to speak prior to the start of the meeting. Please direct comments to the full board, not to any individual board member or staff member. Although the board is interested in hearing your comments, speakers should not expect board action or deliberation on subject matter brought up during the public comment segment. Topics requiring further investigation will be referred to the appropriate town officials or staff and may be scheduled for a future agenda. Ron, you're first.
Ron Kseniak, 4364 Dominique Street, Hope Mills, North Carolina, 2848. First off, rec center on the golf course, hard no. Hard no, save the green space. We're in a budget crisis here. We ain't got the cash. Heritage Park Phase 2, great presentation. Can I even say great presentation? Great presentation. Good job on that. I brought up the issue with the canoe and kayak launch pad. You guys referred me to Calico Street, Lake Pad number 2. That won't work. Wrong creek. That is the wrong creek. That's, so if we can look at which one in Hilton Hills Lake, let's just call that Little Rockfish Creek. The other creek on Blacks Bridge, that we'll name that Rockfish Creek for right now. Those two creeks do not meet up until 301. So Calico Street would work for Rockfish Creek. It won't work because it's too dangerous down there. I've done it. So that's what I want to say about that. The golf course itself with the lawn cutting. Who checks to make sure that contractor has done his job? Before he turns in an invoice, who checks?
Ultimately, I sent the contract to you guys earlier. It's cut bi-weekly, and Parks and Rec staff does quality assurance and quality control prior to the payment of any invoice after cut.
So this last cut, he didn't cut it correctly. And I want to say he missed a lot of space up there, a lot. So if he got paid for doing half a job, I want that.
We haven't received an invoice yet.
Well, you haven't?
We have not.
No, it's not done. Second off,
Ron, hold that point.
And there's-
Marco, can we check this tomorrow?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
and also with that lawn cutting service, there is safety issues there. There's a lot of safety issues there. I see it. I've seen it last year. I haven't seen it this year. I know he was out there. I know it's been cut. The front 9 or close to the golf U has been cut. But once you cross over that back end, you missed a whole lot of area out there. So if we're going to pay him for not doing it, that's fine.
I agree.
And there's safety issues with his equipment. That's going on too. And then your Golfview construction coming in. You said May. It's coming. We're starting in May of this year. I know it's still going to happen. But when we go down the road, can we make sure 295 is completed first? I've got soldiers that live next to me with all down my street. Every week I hear from them that congestion, trying to get to Bragg. If 295 was fixed, that would alleviate a lot of problems. I used 295 last night, coming back from the Outer Banks, got off at exit 38. What was great. Great getting here. I didn't have to cut through Hope Mills. I didn't have to deal with any of the shenanigans going on. So 295 needs to be complete before we even move on and keep jumping to this. That's first time players. So appreciate you guys' time. Look at that contract, look at the canoe launch point, and let's finish 295 before we get rolling on anything else. Thank you.
Ron, thank you very much. Go ahead.
So, I actually have a bunch of the FAMPO stuff and NCDOT. If you want, well, I'm gonna try to brief as much as I can during our committee reports and stuff like that about it. So,
Yeah.
if I don't brief everything, by all means, I'll let you look through this packet.
Okay. Mo, you're next.
Mo Milano, 3800 Odyssey Court, Oak Mills, 28348. So ideally, my position here right now, good evening, members of the board, Marco, is to promote putting that rec center on the golf course. I know a lot of residents don't like that idea, but we're talking 94 acres and a small portion of it. I'm not saying take the whole greenway. It's never going to be used as a golf course anymore, again. So my wrestling room right across the street from here, I got 50. We took a team of 9 wrestlers and made it 55. We are slam packed in there with the families. I cannot tell the parents, you can't have your 2- and 3-year-olds here watching practice, which they need to watch on an inclement weather day. Oh, go wait in your cars. It's just not going to happen. I've coached in this area district, zoomed through the bona fides, Hope Mills since 2009. Thord, aside from these last 3 years, I got taken away from due to work. One thing that I've noticed about this area and the other 4 places I've lived in a short time of 3 years has been these 2 questions. What is Hope Mills' greatest strength and weakness? I will say it's heart. Hope Mills is a township of heart. Its citizens have big hearts, We're not congested like Fayetteville, Cumberland is. Thank the Lord, we're not like Robco. But unfortunately, our citizens have big hearts. Our athletes do. Our residents who want their canoeing, which is fine. The seniors deserve a senior center here specifically for them. So I would suggest that we do put that into place. The Robinson Center, I've been in once or twice in my 10 years in 2009. It's a great facility to have basketball. Currently, the younger ages are splitting that court 4 ways. I mean, we've got coaches running, teams running into each other. I mean, you try to corral almost 28, 30, 7, 8-year-olds or 9, 10-year-olds. It's not an easy task, especially when you have all going in, and then next thing you know, they want to play each other. We're having to literally scrimmage each other just to be able to try to get adequate practice in. I got 50 seconds, so I'm going to try to hurry this up. Our feeder program for the wrestling, I feed into both, Grace Creek, John Griffin, Hope Mills Middle, and then we feed into Coach Benson, Coach, I think his name is Everett over there in Grace Creek. Those 2 coaches love our program and how we do it, but we just don't have the space. Football, soccer, wrestling, basketball, we don't have the space coming either. So if 4 acres is going to hurt some feelings, so be it. My goal that I've set up with some other coaches is to hold a coaches committee meeting over next door to see if we can blast out as many communications as possible to be able to get our parents into here by November. And if changes need to be made, then I don't know if we're allowed to vote that in or just propose our voices. But I can guarantee you, I have coached 937 kids in this township over the course of since 2009 forward. I will do my best to reach out to every parent I can that are here, and probably 300 are here, to see if we can get that facility built on that golf course.
So I thank you, Mo, for your comments and thank you for coming tonight. Okay, that's it. That closes public comments. Next item is consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, item A, item B, and C?
Motion to approve consent agenda, item A, B, and C.
Second?
Yeah.
All in favor? Seeing none opposed, consent agenda is approved. Item B, A, B, and C. That's the end of consent agenda. Old business, none. We move on to item 8, new business. That item is A, consideration and approval of budget amendment number 30, and that is under tab 9. And I know we've got a team coming up here that's going to talk about it. So Chancellor, either Chancellor Drew or Lamarco, start it
I'll
off.
toss this to Mr. Holland and
We're gonna
Mr.
tag team
Morris.
this one. All right. Okay, as we're going through the budget year, there are some items that come up that were not in the original budget that we do have to make budget amendments for. This one, we combined several for the Parks and Rec Department. This is needed so that we can stay within the constraints of the budget. There will be more coming before we close out the year. But as of now, tonight, we have one for Parks and Rec. So if there are any questions, all the information is laid out there for you.
Okay.
And before you comment, boy, if you recall, I sent an email out later this afternoon outlining some of the questions tied to roof repairs. I'll kind of elaborate. There were repairs done after Hurricane Matthew to the area where the community room is and the skylights, and the recent repairs done since Mr. Morrison has been here have been on a completely different portion of the Parks and Rec Center. So there was some confusion. I guess there were some people that thought that the entire roof was fixed during Matthew, but that was simply not the case, and I pointed that out in the email that I sent.
Thank you, Chancellor. I remember, before we get into questions, I remember that from 19, that the entire roof did not get replaced. It was only the sections. Yeah, so they got replaced. Is that right, Lamarco?
Section and then all the ductwork because of the.
That's correct. That was sections, but even though I wasn't here, I went and looked at the plans because I was trying to figure out why we were still having some issues with leaks. So the first round of repairs was a portion of the roof, not the whole thing, and ductwork. And one of the problems we had, because that work should have been under warranty, one of the problems we had was the original contract that came in and did the work is no longer in business. So there's a limit. You can't call in a warranty, and you're having to find a good contract to come in and address some of the additional leaks. We began to have leaks in the community room, and if you would recall, in one of the previous, I want to say 3 years ago, we capital outlay. We had a budgetary item where Public Works managed the replacement of the roof, just the community center and the skylights. But a couple years after that, we began to have leakage problems that we've noticed in the seams along the fitness room and then the shared wall of the gymnasium. Additionally, we began to see leaks in the restroom. And after doing some troubleshooting, making sure there was nothing going on with sprinklers and leaks of that nature, then we changed roofing companies and had another roofing company come take a look at it. And that's what we came up with. And since then, we haven't seen any leaks, so the problem is actually fixed. So these are additional leaks in addition to what was identified in the community room.
Commissioner Craven?
It was a new roof not put on when you found the black mold in there? After all of this, from Fran?
A portion of the roof was, I can't tell you exactly. I want to say it was a community room. Initially, they did the community room. Just that area was replaced. But based on the plans that I looked at, it was a portion of the roof, but mainly the ductwork. The ductwork was how the mold and everything was infiltrating inside the building. So it was mainly a ductwork replacement and a portion of the roof, not the entire roof.
I remember that because we had, the offices were closed, we had plastic up.
The whole building was
The whole, I mean, it completely shut down.
Let me see, I guess I'm gonna go on to, can I leave that, or we still have to be on that? Can we go on anything that's on the?
Yeah, anything that's on this amendment.
Okay, I see here, well, I'm looking at this, the mayor says he's not sure that we aren't getting any money from the state. And part of that money, if we get that money, and I know that Representative Francis Jackson resubmitted a bill for the $3 million+ to renovate the Parks and Recreation building. Why could we not wait to see if we get that money before we take money from here and have work done?
Everything on this list has already been done. We've already paid for this, it's already been invoiced, it's already happened, it's already been completed.
Well, why are we waiting then? Do we not approve stuff before we get the work done? I mean,
When
I don't
repairs need to be happening,
understand how
we
you
have to
can
do
go
something
and
to
do
that.
the work without the money being approved for it ahead of time. I just don't see how that.
Right, sometimes there's emergencies. And if you look at this, some of the things that have happened here, expanding programs and different things, the cost just supersede the budget. We do have revenues to cover it, and so that's what we're bringing before you tonight.
Okay, why can they not come before us before you spend the money and let us approve it?
Because if the roof needs repair for leaks and we have to wait for the next council meeting, it might do more damage and cost even more.
So the roof repair, 16,782. Fire sprinkler systems, that was a repair of 4166. Then a backflow preventer, that's 5551, totaling 26,499. That a building repair is not included in the original budget.
And mind you, the thing, some of the repairs, for example, the sprinkler system and the backflow preventer, these are things that we did not know about. These are things that we find out during our inspection. So we get an inspection from Public Works and the fire department. And so when they come in and do these inspections, say, to be in compliance, these are the things you got to repair. These are things that came up that we did not know about. The backflow preventer was part of the road widening. And once we went back in and looked at it, that's when we found out that the backflow preventer was not in compliance, and it was of a nature where we couldn't repair it. We had to go back in and replace the backflow preventer. So some of quite a few of these things were unforeseen things that we couldn't budget for, but we had to go ahead and address them as part of our inspection.
quite a few.
Well, Marco, all these are safety issues.
Yes,
They are, the safety issue repairs.
yes.
The other thing I have here, and I'm gonna read this because this next one, as part of this amendment, is a true testament to how much our athletic programs and the Parks and Rec programs are growing. Providing gym supervisors, scorekeepers, park attendants, daytime and evening recreational leaders, and program instructors caused an increase in part-time salaries of 14,000 in programs and 27,000 in athletics. With the same expansion of programs and athletics, there is also a need for more department supplies for Parks and Rec, because if you're adding people, you're gonna have to add supplies, which is 5,000 to cover these expanded costs. It just goes to show how much our programs are growing. And you cannot budget in advance because you don't know what that growth's gonna be for next year. Unless someone in here has a wizard's class, that can do that. You just don't know. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
I think what may have happened here, if this is a lump sum budget amendment, but in some of these individual cases, it met the threshold where you didn't have to come back to us. So what has happened is this $90,000 is combined, but some of them individually, they would not have had to come to us because the threshold meant they didn't have to come to us. And I do remember when we discussed the splash pad that we did say we had to make sure, we didn't know what the cost was gonna be. So the first year we was gonna have to figure out how much the cost would be so we could budget properly moving forward.
Right, you're correct. We do estimates and we try to do conservative estimates, but every budget has unanticipated things that happen. And so this is one, and like you said, this is kind of a catch-all budget amendment for all the things at Parks and Rec that need to be caught up.
Well, are we gonna still be spending $6,000 a month for water for the splash pad?
It's not a month, it's only open for a few months out of the year, but those months that it's open, it uses a lot of water, and all that water has to
That's
drain
not
out.
my question. My question was, how much are we looking at each month that it's open? That we'll pay each month that it's open?
I don't know what the monthly cost is, I just know that based on what we've paid so far this year, we need another $18,000 to cover.
And how many months were we opened?
It opens Memorial Day, I think Memorial Day through Labor Day. I believe that's right. So it would be pretty much June, July, and August, 3 months.
Of this next year or last year? Last year. For last year?
Yes, and I will say this, so last year, we were working on the regulator. So there's a regulator splash pad where if nobody's using it, it shuts off automatically and it doesn't come back on. We didn't have those kinks worked out last year, but this year we do. We have it working. We've had the contractor come back out and troubleshoot that issue. So, will it cost $18,000 this year? That's worst case scenario. There's a possibility it could be cheaper, but at least this way we have it covered. So we're not coming back here again to do another budget amendment.
But are we still paying sewer on the water?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's water and we're paying for water and sewer. And I want to mention also, when we went from a 4-inch, extremely old terracotta pipe system to the 8-inch, we're now servicing more sewer, if you will. So it's not just a splash pad with sewer. We are servicing, or we are paying for sewer for the concession stand. We're paying for sewer. We're paying for sewer for the whole park now that we own the 8-inch, and now that PWC has taken over the maintenance for the 8-inch sewer line. It costs a little bit more because you're moving more, for lack of a better word, sewer through the system, and more people are tapped into it.
Well, have you spoken to PWC about keeping up with the gallons of water that they're using and subtracting the sewer out of there, because they know we're not using sewer? And I know at my house I have a separate meter that I could fill up. I had it for my pool. I water my grass and all that, and I don't have to pay the sewer. I have a neighbor that calls PWC when they go to fill their swimming pool and say, I'm starting at 9 o'clock. They call them when it fills up. They don't have to pay for the sewer on that. So why can't the town work out something with PWC? They know that splash pad does not have sewer attached to it.
It does.
How does it have sewer? I mean, there's no bathrooms there for it.
Yep, may I, Mayor? I'm sorry.
You gonna comment to that?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that was one of the things, when did we discuss actually with the logistic? It was last term when I was on the board, the building. So one of the things I had asked was, can we do a recycling system to instead of spending money on water or recycling, it was gonna cost more to recycle it, to have that kind of system than it is the cost to pay for fresh water that goes through sewer.
Well, I'm not talking about splash water, I'm talking about sewer.
Yeah. So when they're in the splash pad, it goes into that sewer pipe.
But I'm saying we should be able to separate.
This isn't even before the board right now because we're looking at just the budget. So the sewer, I mean, that's something I guess we can talk about, but just focusing on the issue before the board right now is the equation.
Well, I guess it goes under utilities, so.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, because that's.
So I'm guessing too, you're saying it's everything. It's the irrigation system where it waters it into all of those fields out there, correct? This is not.
No, the irrigation system's separate. The irrigation is on well water.
Okay.
And somebody asked why we didn't use well water for a splash pad. You can't, because, but going back to the sewer, just for a second, just explain it. Because we did not go with a recycled vault, the vault would have had to go up. So now we have water, and instead of a recycling system, filtration system, the water from the splash pad, for safety reasons, it goes into the sewer. So, you know, the kids in the splash pad, the water that goes to the drain is part of the sewer. So you have two things going at the same time. You have the water, and then you have all that water from the splash pad going to the sewer. So we're required to pay for both, and the velocity.
Thank you, Lamarco. Okay, any further discussion by the board?
No, I'm making a motion that we, approve budget amendment number 30 for $90,500 for fiscal year 24-25.
We have a motion, we have a second, we've had a lot of discussion, so I'm just gonna call for the vote. All in favor? Three in favor, 2 opposed. Motion carries 3-2. All right, we'll go into committee liaison updates. We'll start with Commissioner Marlin.
Yes, sir, the Historic Preservation, Commission minute, and, proud to say that they did validate the, bill that come out of the depot over here as being authentic. They discussed planning for upcoming town celebrations and events, and they have 2 major projects right now that they are working on. One of those projects is to document the historic district, and they're waiting on the new budget to be passed, so they can start working on the designation of the church. So that's their main priority and focus.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Craver on Homelessness Advisory Committee.
We did have a quorum present. We have a logo that has been designed, waiting for our next meeting for that to be approved. The committee would like to have identification badges, because if they go in with the homeless or do anything, or go to any of the offices, county offices and all, that they will have an identification badge showing that they are a part of our homeless committee. Also, there's been a request that on our marquees, that at least maybe one day a week, without cost to us because we did not get $5,000 like the other committees did. So without cost, that, a telephone number and, Miss Debbie there, so that gave us a number with a homeless, or not just the homeless, anyone that's in need of help can see it on the marquee. They can call that number and it'll go straight to them to be able to take, get them registered and help them with places that they need to go and the care that they can get. Did I explain that right or am I wrong? Okay. And so it will go directly to someone that will take down all their information and get them registered with the county. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you very much.
I guess that would have to come back, be put on the agenda to vote on this for the, if we, to give us money.
Commissioner Legg, Parents Commission?
I have not had a meeting with the Appearance Commission. I have one coming up.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Legg. Commissioner Corolla, various committees.
Thank you, Mayor. So with the Chamber of Commerce, of course, we had the egg hunt. It was a long day. Lots of kids, lots of happy kids. Got some really good feedback. Again, we explained to people that was our first time trying to do that. Lots of parents were very, very happy that they were able to get their kids an opportunity to take a picture with the Easter Bunny. Even if they were screaming, I said, give them a break, then bring them back, maybe we'll calm down. So they enjoyed that. So that was, again, 2 weeks ago. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 at Harmony of Hope Mills is our business breakfast. Even if you're not a chamber and you want to come, by all means, you can come join us at the business breakfast. A lot of the other entities within the chamber will put out their information. It's good for networking, meeting with other business owners and stuff like that. We also got coming up the golf tournament. So get your teams ready. On the chamber Facebook page, they have the fees. If you would like to join a team, it's like, I believe, $400 for a team. You get your golf cart, and there's going to be different prizes and stuff. I have the Happy Gilmore trophy, where the worst team gets the Happy Gilmore trophy. It's a little hockey stick, so something to look forward to.
We won that last year, by the way,
You did?
our team.
Awesome. Or horrible.
We were horrible.
Yeah. Yes. So it'll be coming back again this year. So I have another hockey stick for that. So that's coming up. Then let's see my other committees. So FAMPO. Now, when I have my quarterly FAMPO meeting, it's a big stack of messy goodness. Yes. There's a lot of maps in here. Let's see. And that's why there's so much information in this to brief. But some of the things that we went over, let's see. They had a schedule change for different projects. And this is the thing with FAMPO is it's not even just Cumberland County. It encompasses a lot of counties, Fort Bragg, Harnett County, parts of Robeson, parts of Rayford. And we get maps with all the information, and that's why it's quite hard to brief all their stuff. But they do have like their construction updates. Like let's see what this one specifically is. 295. Here you go. Construction projects progress 93% complete, and it has their little notes and stuff on that. So if you're interested in seeing that, that's for. That, let's see, the Fayetteville Outer Loop south of SR 1003 Camden Road to south of US 401, 67% complete. I-95 widening, I know we've seen quite a little bit of that, 96, so that's almost complete. So there's constant updates, and they really get into the nitty gritty about a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of information. Like I said, one of the things that I'm still working on with Spring Lake is to work on getting what's the word I'm looking for? Regional transportation to try to get us some kind of bus. It's constantly a struggle because let me see if I have the other portion. There we go. So they have a priority list, and more often than not, we're at the bottom of the list. I don't know how their algorithms work, but it happens very, very frequently where we just don't have the funds to match, what have you, and they put us at the bottom of the list. So it's not on this one, but I'm still working on trying to get that. Yes, there's a lot of other information in here. It's very, very involved. For my, what's my other committee? Air quality. Hold on. That's more information. Stand by. Here we go. Sustainable sandhills. So they're still working on the EPA sensors, trying to get different municipalities to have an air quality sensor. Hope Mills currently has one. If you look on the EPA website, the one that is tracking is in a citizen's, it's a private citizen's sensor. So, but we can still read the data off of it. We can get one for town hall. It would have to be maintained and constantly powered and connected with Wi-Fi. So that's something we can look into, but we do have one that's fairly close. It's right over in Clifton Forge is where it's located. All right. Then we also had, so Earth Day had happened April 12th. That was at Festival Park. Let's see. So Sustainable Sandhills is also working with NASA. In collaboration with NASA Globe Observer, the Sustainable Sandhills staff and volunteers were able to measure over 300 trees in our 3 carbon bank forests. So with the next update from them will be carbon sequestration metrics, equivalences, and visualizations available. I don't know what that entails because I'm not with NASA. That's what I'm being told. So there's also an air quality poster update. Unfortunately, it says view the guidelines here. This is not on the computer, so I can't click that, and so I have no other information.
All right. Okay.
And Debbie, maybe you can help me with this. Isn't there a liaison committee now that is composed of 3 Fayetteville City Council and 3 Cumberland County Commissioners, and they hold a meeting, I think it's on our transportation system, Chancellor, didn't you go to one of their meetings?
I attended the one last month where we talked about possibly exploring regional transportation. The one they had today was done by FAMPO, that pretty much led a presentation on what efforts can be done. I think they're going to try to go after a FAMPO study first to actually study how regional transportation can be brought to Cumberland County, and I think FAMPO could possibly be utilized as the mechanism to reduce the cost. One thing people have to understand is that transportation is a service. It is not something that is meant to generate revenue, so it has to be subsidized, but I think the study would be the best way to effectively figure out how the regional transportation push is really to connect Spring Lake and Hope Mills to the FAST system. Once you can do that, it's really not ideal to set annual costs with grant funding. And so I do think FAMPO can offset some of the costs, which would reduce the cost to the town that we would have to pay. I think the first time Dr. McCray brought it up, we're at about $150,000 annually just to cover our portion. And I do think having a regional approach will cut that cost significantly because you have 3 people paying into it. And so I think that's where I think FAMPO is leading the charge right now through that liaison committee.
Is there not a way that Hope Mills could get to be a part of that? So let it be Fayetteville and Cumberland County and Hope Mills?
Part of what?
Part of the liaison committee.
We attended, I mean, I think that's just what they call it, Fayetteville Cumberland.
That's why I invite, the last one
Yeah.
they had the town of Eastover came in. That was the last one they had. I think that was a couple days ago.
No, the one today, FAMPO actually presented. I presented that the one last month, talking specifically about regional transportation. So I think they have different topics. Last month's topic was economic development, but I spoke on how regional transportation is also economic development effort. And so I think today's presentation is primarily transportation. I'm not sure what next month's presentation is, but we are all actually at the table. I'm not sure if it's, I think that just the title of it is what they call it, become the liaison.
You know, any of us could go to those.
Yeah.
They're open.
And then also, Mayor, I forgot that, because they were working on making a subcommittee too, where you, myself.
My recommendation was a subcommittee to be formed to study it, but I'm just happy we're having the conversation and we're having it reasonably with all of the people at the table.
I wanted to add one thing, and I was going to cover this under my part with the mayors. Mayors met last week on Thursday, and one of the huge topics was to look at the study, a new study by FAMPO for regional transportation for the city of Fayetteville, Hope Mills, and Spring Lake. As a regional study. There's been parts and pieces, some of it's dated, but there's not been a holistic study, and I think that is the direction that we're going into right now, and that's the discussion for the first time in years. I think we're finally at a point where we're having some robust discussion about actually establishing a regional transportation system in Cumberland County. And it's really, it's good, but I just wanted to, I was going to share that during my part, but I'll go ahead and put it in now and then hand it over to Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray for cultural arts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to piggyback behind that. What we constantly learn when we go to all of these conferences is that transportation is better to tackle it from a regional standpoint. Not just that, but a lot of things, if we are able to work together to tackle some of these issues, the region could be better and we could attract more businesses and industry and support families and everything if we look at it from a regional viewpoint, and probably will save all of us some money. So I do think, I think that we're getting there, but we're trying to look at it together and focus on this from a regional perspective instead of a silo, Hope Mills, Spring Lake, Fayetteville, because we want connectivity throughout the entire county. But back to what I've been asked to do. Cultural arts, we did not meet last month because it was the original date that the mayor was going to do his town hall. And before I knew he canceled it, we had already canceled the meeting and put it out to everybody that the meeting was canceled. Still trying to work on a huge mural project. I don't have anything concrete to present you all yet. We're trying to get some grant funding to cover it, and we'll come up with a proposal as soon as we can get all of that taken care of. That's all for cultural arts. For the prime movers, just a big push for this month. It's a prom/mother-son, daddy-daughter dance on May 24th, 6 o'clock. It's going to be really nice. They did host the mentoring program workshop on March 22nd, which was really great. We've done some promo, Facebook promotions talking about that event. They participated and had a table at the Cotton Trail. But right now, since it's just a small number of us, we're just working really hard to try to make this May 24th a nice event. They have some really good ideas for some things they want to do in the next fiscal year. But again, we're just focusing on this event on May 24th. For economic development, we met on April the 4th, and we did do a tour around Hope Mills and to some of the gateway sites so that we all can have a better context into the things that we're talking about when we're doing our meetings. We also voted to move our meetings to quarterly meetings, and hopefully something that we can talk to you all about or promote soon is having a business expo / community resource fair in the gym, but that would be to kick off some financial series that we can do starting in the next fiscal year. Some of them will be for businesses and teaching businesses how to have access to capital, along with a lot of other things, but it will cause all of us be a homework assignment for us to make contact with a lot of our businesses and business owners to invite them to that and really focusing on our small businesses who could feel like we have like left them behind or neglected them. And like hearing today, like the Surge trampoline park was closing, that was really shocking to me. But we want to do that, but it won't just be for business owners. There'll be another series that will kick off that will be financial empowerment for families as well. So we want this community resource fair / business expo. We want to have the marketing and advertising committee communication and information to give out to the public about those series that will be coming up as well. But we're still trying to work out the kinks, so I don't have all the exact information for you yet, but that is something that has came out of the Economic Development Committee, and that's all that I have.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem McCray. I covered a little bit about the Mayor's Conference. The Mayor's Coalition meeting is coming up next month. Covered Mid-Carolina Council of Governments last month. Parks and Rec Advisory Committee meeting is Monday night. Am I right, Mark? I think it is. But I did want to highlight one thing coming up next week, which is huge. It is the annual statewide North Carolina League of Municipalities Conference in Greenville. Will be next week, and several of us will be there. When we're talking about regional transportation, all three mayors will be there, myself, Mayor Coven, Mayor Anthony, and this may be a further opportunity to continue our discussion about regional transportation on the state level with the league and looking at how to get this study off the ground and how do we facilitate it. So we're working together. I will say this, in a regional vision for Cumberland County, and that's in concert with Cumberland County Board of Commissioners Chairman Kirk Deviere and all of the Board of Commissioners as well. This is a really good opportunity for all of us to bring the needs from all 9 municipalities. In these liaison meetings today, the town of Eastover was there. And under the vision of Kirk Deviere, and I'm not going to speak directly for him, but I will say that he is looking at bringing in all of the municipalities for a discussion during these meetings. And that's something that hasn't been done in the past years. And it benefits all of us because we're all one community trying to improve quality of life for all of our residents that live in Cumberland County. With that said, item number 10 is closed session.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call a motion to conduct a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A3 to consult with the attorney on matters within the attorney-client privilege and NCGS 143-318-11A5 to establish or instruct the public body staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken concerning the acquisition of real property.
Second. Okay. Second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed? We'll be back as quick as we can. We realize it's 9:15.
Eastern Interstate. Two hills, road.
Okay. We good? We're back up. We're back in session.
I'd like to make a motion to move to seal the minutes of the closed session until such time as the release of the information will no longer frustrate the purpose of the closed session and further no action is taken.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Last item is reports and informational items, Parents Commission meeting on April 22nd, Parks and Rec on 28th, and our next regular board meeting is May 5th. Any comments from the staff? Seeing none, do I have a motion to? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
I wish I had a